Lori here. I'm here to do my June TBR. I can't believe it is June. This is like crazy. The state of our world is so weird right now. But I have been getting a lot of reading done, and I did decide to do like a personal challenge for myself. I'm going to try to read a bunch of contemporaries in the month of June, July, and August. I have some videos coming out this week and next week that go over where I'm pulling these books from. But I am separating my TBR into a couple of different categories. The contemporary books from authors that I have read before, the contemporary authors from authors I have not read before, and then just some general books. Like I have some fantasy on here, and I have some sequels. So let's get into it. But the books for the Time Warp YA book club that we will be reading this month is Cress from the Lumiere Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I do actually have to listen to that book because I was waiting for my credits to come because Cress is my favorite book in that whole series, and I really want to own the audiobook. So, and also they chose middle grade, so I'm just waiting to see what book they choose. I probably won't know that till the end of the week, but I'll just add that to my TBR, whatever it is. Also, listening goals. After I finish listening to Cress, I am going to pick up Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. So that's kind of my big listening goals. I don't know what I'm gonna listen to during work yet. That's still kind of up in the air, but if I could finish June by listening to Cress and Chain of Gold, I will be so happy. But let's dive into the physical reads that I hope to read this month. It is Pride Month in June, and I know that the TBR and Beyond reading group that I'm a part of always does like a challenge for reading LGBTQ focused novels. So I just put 2 on here as like a starting point, and then I'll kind of go off of when they announce their challenges. The first one is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I've heard so many mixed things about this book. I personally loved Simon versus the Homo sapien Agenda, and I love The Upside of Unrequited. I thought those were really, really fun reads. Heard so many mixed things about this, but I do really want to read the epilogue that they're coming out with on Audible, so I really would like to add this to my TBR just so I could read that. And also the TV show Love Victor is coming out on Hulu, and I really would like to have this story as a backdrop. And also they do have the audiobook at my library, so it's possible I might just pick up the audiobook. But this is one that I would like to read, so I can at least read that epilogue when it comes out this month. The next one has gotten so much hype, and that's Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuestion. This is actually an adult novel, but it basically follows the son of the prince, like the first son, and then the Prince of England, and they wind up getting into like, they have like a really, really bad, something happens. Like I think they get into like a fight or like an argument or something, but then they have to like have like a fake friendship, and their fake friendship I think leads to something more. I've heard people like have loved this book, and I've heard that it's such a fast-paced read. So I really hope that I enjoy it. I bought it specifically for all the hype I've heard, so I really hope that I like it. So these are the 2 books that are specifically for the LGBTQ prompts, but I might wind up reading more. These are just the 2 that I know off the top of my head have those elements in it. This is an author that I have read before, as I've said, and this is an author that is totally new to me. The other authors that I have read before that I hope to tackle this month is Moment of Truth by Casey West. This is her newest contemporary novel. It's set in the same world as Love, Life, and the List and Fame, Fade, and the First Kiss. This book follows a girl named Hadley. That's all I know. I know the summary is supposed to be like a little bit confusing, so I'm kind of avoiding reading it. But Heather from Bookable said she really enjoyed it. So, and I really do like the 2 books in that little series, so hopefully I like this one. Another author that I have read in the past, not all of her books, is Miranda Connelly for the 4 Days of Me and You. This had a super fun concept. I really hope that I enjoy it. But it basically follows one couple every year on one day. And I guess it kind of like sees like, it's every day on May 7th you follow these couples. So I think it kind of tracks their relationship through high school. I think that's such a cool concept. I read a book by Casey West actually called Maybe This Time, and it had a very it wasn't similar, but it wasn't a linear story. You kind of saw them like through every season. I kind of like that, so I really hope that I like this one. And this one is technically already out, or it should have came out. But yeah, hopefully I like it. Another book from an author that I have read before. I've actually read 2 of her books. I read top 10, and why I think it's her newest one. It's like You Say It or something. But How to Love by Katie Cotugno. This is a book that deals with teen pregnancy. I think the aftermath of teen pregnancy. And I've heard people really enjoy it. So this is another one that I wound up adding to my list. And another book from an author that I have read before is From Twinkle with Love by Saya Manan. This was actually the Owl Crate edition that I got way back, like, I think it was last year. And this is, I don't know if this is a sequel to When Dimple Met Rishi, but I think it's kind of maybe set in the same world. But this has to do with a girl that wants to be like a movie, she wants to make movies, I think. So that's kind of interesting. And I put it off because people weren't the biggest fan of it. But again, I want to read her other books, so I feel like I need this book as like kind of like a backdrop. But those are all the books from authors that I have read before. A couple of contemporary books from authors that I've not read before. One is Say Yes Summer by Lindsay Roth Cully. This is like one of my favorite concepts of a book ever. I read this concept a couple of different times, but basically follows this girl named Rachel. She's like a straight A student. She is so on point. She has a plan. But after she gets like accepted to college, she kind of decides that she is going to spend her summer saying yes to every opportunity that comes her way. I think that that's such a fun concept for a book. This book is not long. It's like not even 300 pages. But I really hope that I enjoy it because I love that concept so much. So I really hope that I like it, and it sounds like a perfect book for the summertime. Another book that sounds great for the summertime is Keep My Heart in San Francisco by Amelia Dina Coombs. I got these both from ALA actually, but this one I don't know much about it. I know that it has to do with a bowling alley as a job, and I love YA contemporary books about unique jobs. Just do. So totally there. I know that there's probably like some type of like romance developing, but I'm really excited for this one. So these are two arcs that I did get from ALA. The other book is my lone library book, which is Layoverland by Gabby New. I think this was supposed to go back March 21st. Not going back March 21st. So I really hope to read this and then eventually like return my library books. Again, this is not that long. This is basically the YA version of The Good Place. And I think that that's kind of fun. And I love The Good Place. I think it has a really, really fun message. So these are the 3 books from authors that I've not read before. And I hope that I like them. Girls Save the World in this one by Ash Parsons is actually my book I'm going to read next weekend because it was the weekend I was supposed to go to New York City. I was supposed to go to BEA. So this is a book all about convention life, but what happens when the zombie apocalypse happens inside the convention hall. I think that that's really, really fun, and I'm just missing my conventions. I'm going to be a little bit honest. I got this at New York City Comic Con last year, I think, and I really wanted to get around to reading it. This one came out in April. But yeah, that just sounds so fun to me. I love con life. I miss cons. I miss being around people so much. So this book will maybe be like a little bit of like a tasty treat, or it will make me very, very sad. Who knows? But I really hope that I enjoy it. I know that I waited online like a good hour for this one, so we'll see. Then I decided to keep some of my thrillers on here that were on my TBR for a while. One is Rise by Elaine Goudet. This was actually an arc I got last year at BEA, and this is the sequel to Rule. I loved it. I felt like it was like Pretty Little Liars, but in like a, there was Pretty Little Liars meets Three Dark Crowns, and I thought that it was like a super fun read. It's been a while, so I might have to read like a summary of this book, but I really did like it when I read it. And then another like thriller that I wound up picking up was Chasing Starlight by Tara Bailey Black. This was supposed to come out in June. I think it's now coming out in August. But this is like a 1930s, I think. I think it's at like 1930s. I don't know if it will tell you. Oh yeah, it's 1938 in California. I think it involves like living in Hollywood and like a murder mystery. She's like a very, very popular like murder mystery author. So really hope that I like it. And I am growing to like historical fiction. So this might be a great one. It is quite long. It's almost like 500 pages. But I hope that I like it. And then the last sequel that I'm going to chat about is Unravel the Dusk by Elizabeth Lim. This book was supposed to come out in July. I don't know if it got pushed, but this is the sequel to Spin the Dawn. I did get this at ALA, and I really have been waiting. So what I think I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to do like a reading vlog about these two because these are sequels. But yeah, those are like the sequels or like the thriller books that I have chose for this part of my TBR. I do want to talk about the anthology that I'm going to try to read this month. I always am bad with anthologies because I can never know how I like to read them, but I am going to try to pick up the Hungry Hearts anthology. It's written by a bunch of different authors, and I think it's Welcome to Hearts Row, where the answers to most life questions are needed, rolled, and baked, where a typical greeting is how have you had anything to eat, where magic and food and love are sometimes one and the same. These interconnected short stories explore the many meanings food can take on being beyond mere nourishment. It can symbolize love, despair, family, culture, belonging, and home. So that sounds really, really fun. And I think what I might do is when I'm reading like my non-contemporary novels, I think I might read like two stories to like kind of like break it up. But I do want to try to get better at reading anthologies. I do actually have quite a few on my TBR, so hopefully this one will be kind of like a start. I tried to do it a couple years ago to read one anthology a month and I failed so fast, but this one sounds fun. I also have a NetGalley that I think I'm on a tour for. It's called Leo. I don't know the name of it, but it's from Macmillan, and I'm gonna try to read that earlier in the month so I can actually get my tour post up for that. But I think it has to do with witches, but it also has to do with like the refugee crisis. I think it starts with an L. I can't remember the name of it. But the other fantasy novels I want to read are House of Dragons by Jessica Cluse. This is the one book that I desperately wanted from ALA and I failed in getting. So now I have to read it. It does sound to me it's like um it's like Game of Thrones. But I love Game of Thrones, so I really hope that I enjoy it. This cover is so pretty. And it just says like these five characters come um, as they're pitted against each other. So you have the liar, the soldier, the servant, the thief, and the murderer. That's all I really need to know. Um, and then the other book on my TBR is Scavenge the Stars. This is the January Owl Crate. I have fell so far behind on my Owl Crate books. But I really hope to finish this month finally. And finally, my last library book that I do need to finish is Five Dark Fates. This is actually the concluding book to that series, and I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I just have to do it. Two books I also have on this TBR, but I hope to maybe finish them before the end of the month. One is Keeper of the Lost Cities Flashback, and the other is Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. Those are books that I'm either going to read the end of this month or in June, but I just want to talk about them. So yeah, that's kind of my whole TBR for the month of June. These are the books I'm going to be pulling from. Sometimes I get distracted and I want to read something else, but this is kind of where I'm pulling books from. I haven't read contemporary in a while, so I am really craving that. But I do want to really make some progress on my list that I've had, which some of these are on. So yeah, let me know in the comments what are some books you hope to be reading. This is my last full month of working, and then I have 2 full months off, hopefully. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you hope to read this month, and we'll chat about it in the comments. And I can't wait to share my reading with you for the month of June. Bye guys. I hope you're all staying safe and being well and taking care of yourselves. And I hope that my contact puts a little bit of a smile on your face because I really do like making it. Bye guys.